Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to an all new Talkin' Movies double feature. A double feature I didn't even think I was going to be doing. I planned on staying home Friday night. I planned on catching up on some Netflix and then some other things, but I found out that our local theater got a hold of two movies that not a lot of people did around this area. The first one is The Front Runner. This movie is about Senator Gary Hart's presidential campaign in 1998 getting derailed by the media when he's caught in a possible love affair. Now, this is one of those movies I'm not really sure what to say about it. I know part of me wants to recommend it because of the acting. The acting is really good. Hugh Jackman is really both likable and not likable. The way his character's supposed to be, you're supposed to be kind of torn. How you feel about him. Vera Farmiga is really good in this as his wife. J.K. Simmons is always awesome because he's J.K. Simmons. And a lot of the other acting in this is great. Bill Burr is really great in this. He's one of the first people that, one of the reporters that kind of breaks the story. They kind of stake out Gary Hart's townhouse whenever they hear a rumor that he may have a lady up in there. So the acting's fine. Even little bit pieces by like Alfred Molina is really good. So I have nothing to say about the acting. I'm just not sure what story this movie is trying to tell. I mean, I think it's just trying to kind of leave it open to your interpretation. Well, if that's the case, fine, but getting there is just kind of, it's almost a chore. This movie, it's not 2 hours, but it feels a lot longer than that. It's just kind of a slow drag. Even though the acting's good, it's just, you kind of know where it's going to go. So when you know the end game, even if you don't know the story, which I really didn't, if you don't know the story, you're still going to know where it's going, and just getting there isn't as compelling as I think it thinks it is. Now, it could be trying to say that politics were never the same, and the reporting of politics were never the same after what happened here, that it's, now this is why the media looks closer at candidates. Also, part of me thinks that it's trying to say that, well, if the media hadn't stuck their nose in this guy's business, we would have had him as president, and some things that happened in the future wouldn't have happened. I'm just not really sure what this movie is trying to say. And while it's a decently compelling piece, a look at this part in history, I mean, it's a better look at a piece of political history, better than Chappaquiddick, but this movie, just getting there, the performances aren't strong enough to carry this movie and keep it, I don't want to say exciting to watch. It's not supposed to be an exciting movie. Keep it that interesting to watch. Though I'm glad I saw it, because I did like the performances, but as a political movie, as a movie about the media, I just kind of thought it was kind of a mess. And if you disagree with me, I totally understand. This is not an argument saying this movie sucks or anything like that. If someone loves this movie, I get it, especially because of the performances. But for me, just the story that I was trying to tell, I felt in the end was incomplete. Because they want you to feel every which way about every which character. Whether they want you to feel good or bad towards Gary Hart, whether they want you to feel sorry for Lee Hart, his wife. Do they want you to feel bad for the media? Do they want you to feel like the media is on a crusade? I don't know. There's just so much going on in this movie that it's hard for me to recommend. That being said, if you want to see strong performances, especially from a lot of people that are usually relegated to minor roles, definitely check out this movie. But am I going to highly recommend it? I can't do that. Next up is Can You Ever Forgive Me, which is based on the life of writer Lee Israel after she falls from grace, so to speak. She's had a couple of of successful books, but now she's an alcoholic. She just lost her job. Her cat is sick, and she's trying to find a way to make ends meet when she accidentally stumbles upon this letter written by someone famous. She ends up selling the letter, and then whenever they tell her that the letter is not as exciting, it could make more if it had better content, she starts to forge either things onto found letters or write new letters, and she gets away with a lot. This is a movie that I was really looking forward to because, as many of you know, I'm sick and tired of seeing Melissa McCarthy do movies that are way beneath her abilities. This is a totally serious role for her, and I applaud her. She knocked it out of the freaking park here. This is the kind of movie she needs to start doing. She needs to get out of the lame comedy roles. They keep trying to typecast her and trying to make her the female Kevin James, which honestly, and that's another story, he's better than the movies he's made too. But this movie is really her coming out party when it comes to being able to do dramatic acting, and I want to see her do more of this. I have nothing bad to say about her acting in this. She leads this movie perfectly. She gets you to feel sympathy for her character, even though she is, self-admittedly in the movie, her character is a terrible person. But you want her to succeed, even though you'd like her to succeed in a more legal way. She's succeeding in an illegal way. And she will just grab you from the beginning of this movie, and you will want to follow her journey the entire way through, helping her through this. And I have to say this about this guy. I keep hearing this is a career renaissance for Richard E. Grant. I'm sorry, Richard E. Grant never went anywhere. He doesn't need a renaissance because he's always awesome, and he's always been awesome, and he is incredible in this. If you look at the real story about his character, Jack Hawk, apparently in the book written by Lee Israel, the Can You Ever Forgive Me book about this movie, about what's going on in this movie, about her forging these letters and things, he's not in the book very much, and also he's not British in real life. Other than that, Richard E. Grant is fantastic in this movie, and if he and Melissa McCarthy don't get any recognition for this movie at come Oscar time, then, well, I already don't have a lot of faith in the Oscars, but I'll have even less faith. They at least need to be nominated for some awards, some Golden Globes, and for some Oscars and some other awards. They are both fantastic in this movie. This is one of those movies that if you can find it, I don't really want to say much more about it other than the journey you see these two characters take is worth watching. It's really interesting to see when one thing starts to fail, how they adapt to keep the con going, and they keep adapting, and then the rise and fall and rise again of Lee Israel is just fantastic. This is one of those movies that makes me want to go and read the book because I'm really interested in all this that happened, because these two actors especially, I'm not saying the rest of the acting in this isn't great, because it is, but without Melissa McCarthy and Richard E. Grant, I don't know if this movie would have succeeded. Both of them are fantastic together. They have perfect chemistry together. This is just a fantastic movie, a fantastic character study, and if you get a chance to see it, go see it. The only other thing I could find, other than some minor tweaks to the real story, there was a love story in this, and it's not such a major part that I deem it unacceptable. I think it played well into the story. That being said, the two characters and their journey is the story. So the love story, while not something from real life, doesn't hurt this movie like if you look at, say, a Bohemian Rhapsody, which changes so much that it's not even close to the truth. This movie, if you look at History versus Hollywood, is very close to what actually happened. And again, if you find this movie, I don't want to spoil much more of it for you. If you can find it, go see it. That's going to be all for this edition of Talkin' Movies Double Feature. If you like what you've heard here, please subscribe to the Real Gino YouTube channel, like this video, and if you have anything to say about either of these movies, please feel free to leave a comment in the section below. Till next time, I'm your host, the Real Gino, Gino Reynolds. See you later.